Hi guys, it's Nicole, and I've got a quick and easy, simple, multi-photo, single-page scrapbook layout today. This is for Erica Rose Creates. She sent me the Spooky Nights Simple Stories collection. This was super cute. I previously did a layout of photos that my kids and I play around with the Snapchat filters every Halloween. So that was kind of in like the back of my brain as far as realizing that I have multiple years of this, and so far I've only scrapped 1 year. So I went and pulled another year. This is the photos that were in my Snapchat like downloads from 2020. That is, if you follow my channel, if you're in my Facebook group, 2020 is kind of where I'm focused when it comes to my dark side challenge. I'll post a video explaining that up here. And so out of all the years that, I have the Snapchat filters, it was just kind of smarter for me to pick 2020 because that's a year that I am trying to kind of play catch up on. So, and once I decided on that, I like to kind of figure out, okay, how many photos do I think I'm going to use? In this instance, it was 10. From there, I go into my drive where I just kind of have been housing a lot of my sketches that I've purchased, especially ones I haven't printed yet. And I just kind of go through. I went through the folder that I have one-page sketches in, and I found this bundle. It's linked down below, and basically it's a bunch of single-page sketches. I think they might all have 5 photos. At the time I'm editing this, I'm not 100% sure. The sketch I picked has like 5 photos. They're kind of tilted a little bit. For me, it's super easy to just double the amount of photos, so I'm going to get 10 photos on a single page layout. I just kind of changed the sizing a little bit. I kept the width of everything at the same width that was depicted on the sketch. I just kind of played around with the height, and when I say the height, I mean the total height of both photos, because I've got 2 rows. Off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure. I think the bottom ones are 2.5 by 2.5, and the ones above are 2.5 by 3. And what I basically did was I just kind of looked at all 10 photos, and the 5 that I felt like really needed a more a more vertical crop. Meaning, if I cropped it down to a square, I would lose a little bit more than if I kept it in that like portrait rectangle. So that's kind of how I decide, which 5 are going to be squares and which 5 are going to be a little bit taller. And then because this is going a little bit on a diagonal, that's going to cause this photo area to actually be wider than 12 inches. So where my photos are hanging over, I'm kind of just coming in with some paper strips to sort of patch that. You're barely going to see it on the finished layout. In fact, I'm going to grab it real quick. Yeah, on either side where it would be, I don't know how to explain this. You can barely see that I put a little patch there, but I really just needed a little bit of extra to be able to go past that 12 inches because my photos are all pieced together. They quickly add up to more than 12 inches, but I don't have paper that's longer than 12 inches, so I just patched it together with some Scotch tape and made it 12 inches. When I was going through the papers, I could not decide on one to use for the background. I kept going back and forth and back and forth. This collection is really cute. I fell in love with this like cloudy night sky scene kind of paper. So I cut that to 9.5 inches square. And then this black paper has just been out on my desk for a very long time. At this point, I've already cut off the branding strips. I don't remember where it's from. I almost want to say Cosmo Cricket, but I'm not 100% sure. You'll see the back of it a little bit later, but I keep some specific pattern papers in like a section next, like to the right of me. And it's just pattern papers that are very much a B-side, but they're also, to me, like when I look at them, I think that they would work really well as a background. So I tried to kind of look there first, especially if I think I'm not going to use like plain white cardstock for my background. So I did kind of add that in. And I'm going to do stitching around the 9.5-inch square, but I am going to skip the middle area where my photos are going to be, just to kind of save myself a little bit of time when it comes to stitching. And I say this, I think, in almost any video that I do stitching, I prefer to just use a ruler, make a pencil line, and then freehand my holes. My lines tend to come out a lot straighter that way. If I use the ruler and stitch along, or not stitch, poke along the edge of the ruler, I realize that I'm not, or I guess I should say, I don't realize that I'm putting like sideways pressure on my ruler and it's starting to shift. And then by the time I've poked all my holes, my line is no longer straight. So came back after stitching that. I decided you guys didn't need to watch me stitch. I use one strand of DMC embroidery thread folded in half. I secure my first stitch with the loop method. Just do a simple back stitch, knot it, or secure it with some Scotch tape and keep going. I kept my embellishments really simple. There's a lot of photos on this layout, and I didn't want to cover up a lot of that cloud paper because, like I said, it was my favorite. So I'm just going to do kind of like a little mini scene up here at the top. I'm kind of keeping things to the gray and black, like muted elements that was in this paper pack. I'm going to grab a couple like little phrases and pop them up with some foam tape. And because I'm just using a lot of the black and gray, I kind of intentionally stayed away from any of like the phrases that were on like the green or the blue or the super bright orange. I just was kind of, I don't know, I liked the sort of like spooky night kind of vibe that I was getting from the stuff that I was picking. And I like to just kind of grab a couple phrases to overlap my photos, and they kind of take up like a third section of embellishing because I've got some stuff in the upper left. I've got my title down here in the lower right. I am skipping journaling on this one. It's pretty like self-explanatory with the title. And this is probably a layout, like I said, I've got a couple years worth of these. So this is one of those things where it's like, I don't feel like I need to say a lot. And when it comes to Halloween, like there's probably 4 other layouts that I'm going to end up doing just for this one day alone. So this is kind of at the end of the night after we've been home. There's only one kid in these because the other kid passed out. She went to bed, so she didn't participate in these. I am adding the word Snapchats out of these simple stories like alphabet sticker books. Because the collection pack was simple stories, I knew that the colors would carry over really well. These are just super thin, so you saw me stick them to some scrap cardstock, and then I just go ahead and cut them. And not only does it give it a little bit more sturdiness so that I can put foam adhesive behind it, it also allows me to kind of trim them a little bit thinner by cutting off the edges when I'm cutting them off of the cardstock. Some of the letters, just the way that they print, they're just, I don't know, they look weird and they're really wide, and I kind of like them to be more of like a little skinny rectangle. I know my shapes, I swear. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna leave the date off because, like I said, this is gonna be the like last layout in a bunch of layouts that are from this Halloween. I know Halloween is October 31st, so basically what I just did was I wrote October 2020 on the back, just kind of so I know where to file it in my layouts that need to go in my album and kind of where it falls in my dark side process. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys here with detail photos. And if you are just finding me and you're new, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. And I've got a couple other suggested videos here as well. And I will catch you guys later.